Code has finally returned. Yep, this is at least one clue I found to predict Chapter 26. But before that, I'm Nim without the E. Please help me fix the algorithm by liking this video. Thanks, guys. So yeah, first of all, to predict Chapter 26, let's start with something simple but very important, the cover. And to predict the cover, there are 4 candidates that I think are very ideal. Kashin Koji, Mamushi, Momoshiki, or even Code. But even though this may not be completely valid, I do have reasons that make quite a lot of sense. First, why did I choose Koji? Because in the previous chapter we found a clue. Yep, between Boruto and Koji, who are undoubtedly singularities of fate, Boruto has made that destiny even more complicated and branching. And surely that is what caused the rift between Koji and Boruto. After Boruto made plans with Kawaki without Koji's knowing, now Boruto has made a deal with Momoshiki, which Koji definitely doesn't know about. Moreover, I'm not sure if Jippo will find out about it, because every owner of karma is someone who can indirectly become an exception to Jippo's abilities. Yep, as I said in my previous video. And that means if the cover is Kashin Koji, then this will represent what Koji will do after Boruto destroys everything. At least, that's what Koji said. Second, Mamushi. So far, only Mamushi, as a Divine Tree human, has never been a cover, right? Because from chapters 1 to 25, Jura, Hidari, Matsuri, and even Ryu have all been covers. Mamushi is the only one who hasn't been a cover yet. However, choosing Mamushi as the cover doesn't mean that he will never be a cover in future chapters. Rather, it means that his role will be to target his prey. And that prey is Aida. Because believe it or not, this isn't just about Mamushi's target. There are several very interesting things, and I'm sure all the fans are very eager to see them. A battle between Damon and Mamushi, because whatever threatens Aida's life, Damon is the knight who will stand at the forefront to protect her. So that means Damon's abilities will determine whether he can truly defeat Mamushi, who is essentially a manifestation of a bug and naturally has a lot of knowledge about cyborgs and other things, right? The third is Code. Yep, I finally found a clue that I'm sure is valid and legit. I mean, this is the perfect time for Code, because if you think that Chapter 26 will reveal Momoshiki's answer to Boruto's offer, that's not wrong, because this is also an analysis and speculation. But believe it or not, the end of Chapter 25 is very much related to Kawaki's decision in Chapter 18. I mean, look at when Amado asked Kawaki to transplant his karma into his daughter's clone. At that time, Kawaki firmly refused, saying that his priority was to obtain his true power and defeat Jura. But of course, this became a complicated matter because Amado was afraid that if he removes Kawaki's limiter, there would be no guarantee that Kawaki would survive longer when fighting against a much stronger and unpredictable enemy. And at that moment, confusion and decisions were really taken into consideration. More precisely, Kawaki had to choose. However, the same plotline continues at the end of Chapter 25. Each ends with a hanging answer. Is that right? Then, after several chapters, it is revealed that Amado removed Kawaki's limiter. Then you will surely ask, what does this have to do with Code? The answer is a role reversal. It also means that the continuation between Momoshiki and Boruto will be revealed in the next few chapters. Code will show us his next plan to find Boruto or even Koji, or we might even get a flashback involving Kawaki. More precisely, what command did Amado use to remove Kawaki's limiter? Because the last time we saw Amado remove a limiter on a cyborg, it was a code, right? There's no dress code, is at least the command to remove the limiter code. And regardless of whether it's fake or not, it's clear that this is all about commands. Yeah, you know what I mean, guys? But if I had to choose, it seems like Code is the most ideal. Not only because some of his roles haven't been revealed yet, but also because the end of Chapter 25 is similar to Chapter 18 in that it's about a concept that ends with a decision. But what do you guys think? And lastly, there's Momoshiki. One thing that makes me suspect that Momoshiki could be the cover is that it strongly relates to the idea of a flashback to the era right after the time skip. Because, as we all know, before the time skip, Momoshiki was very aggressive in provoking Boruto, trying to drive him to despair and force him to hand over his life. But ironically, after the time skip, he completely changed 100%. So what I mean is, if the cover turns out to be Momoshiki, it could serve as a flashback and also answer our curiosity about what exactly happened to him that caused such a significant change in his personality. But again, this is just an analysis, not just empty talk without a reason. And that means, if you have a different perspective, let me know, guys. So yeah, for the next prediction, it might not be far from Sumire, Sarada, and Aida. Sarada's confession shocks Aida, creating a new scenario about Aida's omnipotence. This indirectly proves that Aida and Sumire are not affected by that omnipotence. Logically, Naruto is the Hokage who is a role model for Sarada herself. It would be very illogical for Sarada to like someone who is rumored to have killed him, right? The same goes for Sumire. However, I am still trying to figure out what the future impact will be on Sumire and Sarada, who are not affected by Aida's abilities. This is what makes me wonder, because apart from Aida not being a specific threat, the omnipotence ability basically comes from Kawaki's deepest desire. But what do you guys think? Is there a negative impact on Sarada and Sumire if Aida finds out that they're both unaffected by the omnipotence? What do you think? And as for the next prediction, it's none other than about Shikamaru. Honestly, I wondered if Shikamaru would be removed from his position as Hokage, because so far, Shikamaru seems too biased towards Boruto. Meanwhile, Konoha strongly rejects Boruto, who often comes to Konoha and leaves whenever he wants. According to the Konoha elders, rogue ninjas like Boruto should have been captured or killed. However, the big question is, if the Konoha elders are still stubbornly ignoring what Boruto has done to protect Konoha and also prove how he saved the ninja trapped in the tree, then Shikamaru should really be removed as Hokage. Or, as the Konoha elders once said, they would take over to handle the issue with Boruto. But is it possible that the Konoha elders will consider what Boruto has done for Konoha all this time instead of stubbornly insisting on punishing him? What do you guys think? And finally, maybe this can be excluded. That is the second part of the Konoha invasion. Because surely it's impossible for the most important part to be revealed in one chapter, right? Especially since Boruto's story is sometimes slow-paced. What I mean is, from several predictions about Code's movements, Mamushi, Kawaki's flashback, Aida with Sarada and Sumire, Shikamaru, and even Koji, these are all the most important parts. And surely there will only be 2 or 3 conflicts in one chapter. In other words, not everything will be revealed in one chapter. However, sooner or later, the second part of the Konoha invasion will definitely begin. Besides Mamushi appearing in the updated Jippo timeline, don't forget about Himawari and Sarada. Their anxious expressions reveal a threat that cannot be denied. The most interesting part is about Hidari and Sarada, a gesture similar to that of Itachi and Sasuke after their battle. But what do you guys think? Will the second invasion of Konoha really happen? And yeah, as a final conclusion, this is just a prediction from a Boruto addict, but if you have other predictions, let's discuss them in the comments. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe. I'm Nim without the E. See you in the next video. Bye bye, Dada Bio.